And the whole time I knew it was following. We never saw it again, not clearly at least. But the sound never left us. Heavy footsteps pacing the trail. Every now and then, another whisper. It said my name once just before we got within the sight of the car. Arthur. Low, flat, like a question. We piled into Mitch's truck and tore out of there, damn near flying off the forest road. Drove all night until we hit a motel with real lights and a locked door. We didn't sleep, not really. I've worked in the forests across the country. I've seen bears, wolves, you name it. But nothing prepared me for what we saw up there. You don't forget a presence like that. You don't forget something that mimics your name like it's a joke. I haven't been back to Maine since, and I don't watch those Bigfoot shows anymore, because it's just not funny when you know it's real. You remember that weekend trip I took with the guys a couple of autumns back? That one where we were supposed to camp out in Wyoming? Yeah, I never really told you the whole story. It wasn't just another weekend with beers and bonfires. I'm not even sure where to begin. It's still hard to believe sometimes, but it happened and I haven't been the same since. There were 5 of us. Me, Jordan, Ty, Reggie, and Felix. We all met through work and mutual friends, just a mix of blue-collar types and tech nerds like me. I do zookeeping out in San Francisco, and yeah, in my free time, I build custom PCs for kicks, but I don't think any hobby or job could have prepped me for what we saw out there. We chose a place near Shoshone National Forest, not too far from Dubois. Beautiful country, raw and wild. That part of Wyoming has always felt untouched, almost sacred in a way. It was already getting cold that time of year, and the wind had a bite to it. The trees were half naked, and that constant rustle of dry leaves never stopped, not even in the dead of night. I remember the first night being calm, mostly. We set up camp by a small creek, and Felix had brought his old camping stove. We used to cook up some chili. Reggie kept going on about the bears and how we needed to be careful with food. You know, typical wilderness talk. But what stuck out to me the most was Ty. He started telling us about this game he'd been playing, one of those survival horror titles. It featured Bigfoot and he was getting real animated about it. He said the game did a great job of building tension, how it made you paranoid about every snap of a twig. We all laughed at the time. I even joked that I'd probably be the first one to see Bigfoot since I worked around animals all day and probably smelled like one. Stupid joke. The first sign something was wrong came on the second evening. It was around sunset, gold and red light leaking through the trees, and we were hiking back from a long walk. We'd gone deeper into the woods to find this old ranger's lookout tower that Jordan had read about online. We never found it, but on the way back we heard something off. It was this thump, like someone dropped a tree trunk nearby, but there was no crash, no falling limbs, nothing, just this single thud that made our bones vibrate. We stopped and looked around, but there wasn't anything unusual, no birdsong either, just wind. It was always windy, like it never stopped, but this wind carried something else, a weight. You could feel it in your chest. We made it back to camp just as night fell, and that's when it happened. The attack. No lead up, no warning, just chaos. Jordan was by the fire, stirring the chili. Reggie was messing with his portable speaker, trying to get a signal. I'd stepped into the woods to take a leak, just a few dozen feet away from camp. That's when I heard Reggie scream. Not shout, scream. I ran back, thinking someone got hurt, maybe a bear got too close. But what I saw when I broke through the brush, I'll never forget it. It was tall, massive, covered in matted dark fur, easily 8 feet, maybe more, shoulders like a linebacker, and a head too low for its frame. And the eyes, he turned and looked right at me. Amber eyes, glowing in the firelight, not reflecting, glowing. It had Reggie by the leg, dragging him across the ground like he weighed nothing. Felix was frozen. Jordan was yelling and throwing a branch at it. Ty, thank God for Ty, had a hatchet in his hand and charged. The thing dropped Reggie and roared, not like a bear, not like any animal I've ever heard. It sounded human almost, like a man screaming through layers of earth and stone. Ty swung and caught it in the arm. The hatchet bounced off like it hit a tree. It backhanded him so hard he flew into a tree trunk and just crumpled. That's when I grabbed the flare gun from my bag. Yeah, I know, it sounds like overkill, but we brought it in case we got lost. I fired it right at its face. It screamed and staggered back, and that gave us just enough time. Jordan grabbed Ty, and I helped Reggie. We hauled ass to the car. It was about a half-mile out, parked at the end of a rough dirt trail. I don't know how we made it. I kept expecting to feel those claws ripped into my back, but it never followed us, at least not that close. We made it to the SUV and peeled out of there, like demons were chasing us. And for a while, I think they were. But it didn't end there. See, we were too freaked out to go back for our stuff. We called the local authorities, said we were attacked by a bear. They didn't seem surprised, almost like they were used to weird calls like that. We stayed in town that night, trying to get our story straight, trying to believe it wasn't real. Ty had a concussion and Reggie had deep bruises but nothing broken. Next morning we decided to drive back and at least try to salvage our gear. But the camp was destroyed. Tents shredded, gear scattered like a bomb went off. And the weirdest thing? Our fire pit had been buried, not just doused, completely filled in and covered with stones and branches, like it didn't want to leave a trace. We packed what we could and left fast. That should have been the end of it, but on the drive out, just as we turned onto the highway, I looked into the rear view mirror. I swear to you, I saw it, standing just off the tree line, watching us, still silent, like it knew we were leaving, and it was satisfied with that. And remember that game Ty talked about? He deleted it. Said he couldn't play it anymore. Said the way it moved in the game, it matched what we saw too closely. Almost like someone had seen the real thing and programmed it in it. I don't camp anymore. None of us do. Whatever we saw out there, it wasn't just an animal. It was something older, smarter, angry. Sometimes, when the wind gets right out here in the bay, I swear, I hear that same sound, that distant thump, and I wonder if it remembers us the way we remember it. I didn't believe in Bigfoot before that trip, but now I know better. Hey, you got a minute? I gotta get this off my chest. I haven't told many people, mostly cause they'll think I'm nuts. Hell, I still question what I saw, but it happened. And if I don't say it out loud, it's just gonna keep eating away at me. It was last autumn. Me and a few buddies, Jeremy, Luther and Dave, decided to do a camping trip up in northern Wisconsin, right where the woods go thick and old. We were all due for a break. I drive an ambulance back home in New Orleans, and let me tell you, that job does a number on your nerves. So a little break in the wilderness sounded perfect. No sirens, no blood, just trees, fire, and cold beer. You remember how much I used to tinker with my old Impala in Dad's garage? Still do. I drove that baby all the way up, smooth as hell. Jeremy's a mechanic too. Between the two of us, we could probably build a car from scratch, if we had to. Point is, we are practical guys. Grounded. We don't scare easy. Anyway, the place we picked wasn't official. Just a clearing of a dirt path, surrounded by dense pines and oaks. Wind was steady, making the branches whisper like they were trading secrets. The air had that sharp, cold bite to it, typical for fall up here. The first day was normal. We set up camp, made a fire, grilled some meat, passed around a bottle of bourbon, talked about life, girls, old stories. Dave brought his 45 in case of bears, and Luther had his big hunting knife. I just had a hatchet in my pack, one of those camping deals that's good for chopping kindling and not much else. We were armed, sure, but we weren't expecting anything serious. Now let me rewind for a second. You ever see that old TV show Monster Quest? They did an episode on Bigfoot. That was my first brush with the legend. Skeptical but fascinated. I remember watching it with my little brother and laughing, like, no way that's real. But something about it stuck. The way those people told their stories, their eyes, the fear. It felt too real to be fake. So when I say what I saw out there, I need you to remember, I'd already heard the lore, but I never believed in it. Back to the woods. It was our second night. Fire had burned low, Dave had gone off to take a piss, and the rest of us were just sitting quiet, staring into the flames. That's when Jeremy froze. I mean stiff, like he saw a ghost. "There's something behind that tree," he whispered, pointing past the fire. At first I didn't see it. Then I did. A shadow, broad, tall, huge. Really, maybe 10 feet behind the thick oak. Just crouched there, not moving. I could barely make out the shape, but the outline of a massive shoulder, a thick leg, and what looked like a hunched back was visible. He didn't make a sound, just stared. "You seeing this?" I asked, and all three of us nodded without a word. Dave came stumbling back a minute later, completely oblivious, and by the time he saw what we were staring at, the thing was gone. Not like it ran, like it melted into the trees. None of us slept that night. The wind picked up, howling through the trees, and every rustle felt like that thing coming back. We doubled the fire, circled the tents with our gear like that helped. We told ourselves it was a bear, a big one, maybe with mange, but I knew, the way it crouched, no animal does that. It watched us like a person, calculating, quiet. The next day we debated heading out, but pride's a dumb thing. "It's just the woods playing tricks," we said. "Don't be a baby," Luther laughed. But his laugh was hollow. We stayed. That was a mistake. Late that night, sometime past 1, I woke to the sound of branches breaking. Not twigs, branches, heavy, like something massive was walking nearby. My tent rustled and I saw a shadow pass in front of the moonlight fabric. Tall, lumbering but fast, almost like it was circling us. I heard a low growl, deep and unnatural, somewhere near Jeremy's tent. I burst out of mine, boots unlaced, still in my thermal shirt, with my hatchet in hand. Luther was already out, holding his knife. Dave had his gun raised. We were back to back, turning in circles, flashlight swinging. Then it stepped out, 10 maybe 11 feet tall, hair black and matted with what looked like moss and filth. Its eyes, I'll never forget its eyes. They glowed faintly in the light, not like reflection, but like an animal that shouldn't exist. Its hands were massive, with fingers too long. Muscles rippled under its fur. This thing could tear a tree in half. We froze. Then Dave screamed and fired. The shot echoed and the creature roared like a goddamn freight train. It charged, swiping a huge arm and smashing into Dave, sending him flying into a log. We scattered like animals, ducking into the trees. Jeremy got slashed across the back trying to help Dave up. Luther grabbed Dave's other arm, and the three of them limped toward the road. I swung my hatchet, just a distraction, hit the creature in the side. It barely flinched, swatted me like I was a mosquito. I hit the dirt, wind knocked out of me. That roar, it rattled your bones. It wasn't just sound, it was feeling, ancient, wrong. We regrouped behind a cluster of rocks. Dave's face was pale, bleeding from his forehead. Jeremy's back was torn up. Luther had a limp. We couldn't run, so we hid. Hours passed. We didn't talk, we just crouched, breath quiet, hearts pounding. The wind blew harder, trees creaking and bending. Every few minutes we'd hear branches snap, footsteps, the thing circling. It was hunting us, watching, waiting. It didn't come back again that night. Maybe it lost interest, maybe it was just playing with us. As soon as the sun broke the treetops, we hauled ourselves toward the car, keeping low, moving slow. Not a word, just raw survival. When we reached the clearing, our car was untouched, like nothing happened. We peeled out and didn't look back. Jeremy got 30 stitches. Dave had a concussion. We told the hospital we were attacked by a bear, but I saw the look in the nurse's eyes. She didn't buy it. I've thought about that night every day since, looked up everything I could, legends, native lore. The Menominee talk about the hairy giants in the forests, always watching, always just out of reach. Bigfoot isn't a joke. It's not a man in a suit. It's real, a predator, one that doesn't want to be found. And the scariest part? I don't think it was the first time he did this, and I damn sure don't think it will be the last.